Hello traders, welcome to Leading Forex YouTube channel. We have another tutorial here for you free of charge. On this channel, we teach you how to trade the Forex market for free. All you need to do is subscribe to this page or this channel, hit the notification bell so that anytime we post a video, you will be the first to grab it. Is that okay? My name is Kofi, the admin for this channel. We've been doing this for quite some time now. So if you are new to this channel, then I would suggest that there is a playlist named Forex Training for Beginners. Even if you are not a beginner, these videos will help you. It will shape you to understand what you are doing in terms of Forex. In today's video, we want to talk about a very important aspect of technical analysis, depending on what strategy you are using. We're still on technical analysis. We are not yet done. So we need to continue and finish technical analysis. But there is one component in technical analysis we want to look at today. So the very first thing we will talk about is what is called trend line. Trend line. We're going to talk about trend line, and if you are a trader and your strategy allows you to do trend lines, then this video will be for you. But if your strategy is not anything that involves trend line, then you may only watch this video for the basis of knowledge. Now, I want to let you know or say that there are millions of strategies out there that people use to trade. So it depends on what suits you or what you are familiar with or what is easy for you. Okay? The Forex market is not a one formula market. If that had been the case, then I think people would have conquered the Forex market by now. But because there are dynamics, there are different ways anyone can get into the market to make some profit. That is how come there are varieties. That is how come there are different strategies. So if your strategy involves trend lines, then you may have to consider this video. So an example of a strategy that might involve trend lines will be support and resistance. If you are a trader that does support and resistance, then of course, you may have to consider a trend line. Okay, that is just one example I can give. There are so many other examples of trading strategies that you may have to consider a trend line. Is that okay? So what is a trend line? That is what we want to do today. Now, per the definition written boldly here, it says it is a straight line that is drawn to indicate the direction of the market. Forex trading is all about forecast. If you can forecast the next movement or the next direction of any currency pair, then your chances of winning is about 99%. If you can forecast the direction of any currency pair, for instance, Euro USD, if you can give a forecast to know the next move or the next direction of Euro USD, then it means you are 99% complete in terms of trading. So trend lines are straight lines that are drawn on the MT4, MT5, or whatever trading software you are using, which helps you to forecast the direction of the market. So It is a straight line that is drawn to indicate the direction of the market. Mind you, the statement says to indicate the direction of the market. That doesn't mean that the market is going to stay in that direction forever. There are times it will change direction. So let's deal with the explanation first. After that, I'll take you to the chart, which is the MT4, and then we will do the practicals of what we are talking about now. So a trend line is a straight line that is drawn to indicate the direction of the market. It can be drawn on all time frames. That is the second point. It can be drawn on all time frames. That is the second point here. Now, you can draw your trend line on 1 hour, 4 hour, daily, weekly, monthly, whatever time frame you want to draw it, you can draw it. Now, the third point says that it is important to draw trend lines on higher time frames and then narrow it down to smaller time frames. It is important to draw trend lines on higher time frames and then narrow it down to smaller time frames. So you go to maybe the monthly or the weekly time frame or the daily time frame, then you draw your trend line, then you switch to 4 hour or 1 hour or maybe 30 minutes or 15 minutes, and then you are able to see the clear picture of what the market looks like. So it is advised that if you want to draw a trend line, draw it on a higher time frame and narrow it down to smaller time frames. We will do these examples very soon, so let's continue. Now, aside all this, we need to know how to draw trend lines. If you cannot draw a trend line, then there is no need of even learning what we are doing or what we are showing you. You need to know how to draw it. So how do you draw a trend line? So to draw Forex trend lines properly, all you have to do is locate two major tops. The word here is major. You locate two major tops. I want you to take note of the word major here. It's very, very important. Two major tops or bottoms and connect them. So to draw Forex trend lines properly, all you have to do is locate two major tops or bottoms and connect them. Now, trend lines become stronger the more times they are tested. And what we mean is that if you draw your trend line, maybe a line like this, the more the Forex market come to test that line, the stronger the trend line becomes. Is that okay? We will soon look at all this, so let's not worry. Let's continue from where we are. Now, let's do some examples. How do we draw a trend line? Per the explanation so far, what we say is that you draw a trend line by connecting two major tops or bottoms. Is that okay? So, for instance, if the market is moving like this, okay, to draw a trend line, you need to connect two major bottoms or tops. So, for instance, this is a top here. This is also a top. This is also a top. This is a down. This is also a down. This is another down. So another down is also here. So connecting two, okay, connecting two of these tops or downs is what is called a trend line. And how do you connect that? you need a straight line to connect it. You need what? A straight line to connect it. So let's see if we can get a straight line. So this is a straight line connecting the tops. So connecting these two tops here with a straight line is called trend line. So these two lines that have just been drawn, again, let me do it. Connecting two tops. This is a trend line. Or connecting two bottoms. So this is also a trend line. All right. So let's see, we can connect two bottoms here again. So this is also a trend line. And we can choose to connect another two tops. So let's connect another two tops here, maybe this and this. So this is also a trend line. So once you can connect two tops or two bottoms as a result of the chart, what it looks like, then it means you have drawn a trend line. So again, if the market is doing this way and you can connect, I think this color is not that clear. So let me look for a better color. Let me go with my red. So something like this. This is a downward market, okay? So if you can connect two tops or two bottoms. Now the tops are resistance. If you remember the resistance and support video, the tops are resistance. The bottoms are support. Do you remember? So if you can connect two of these, then it means you've drawn a trend line. Now, okay, let me clear this. We are using a straight line, so we need to get a straight line. So a straight line, this becomes a trend line. A straight line, this also becomes a trend line. Is that okay? So this is what we mean by trend line. Connecting two tops or two bottoms, and not just tops or bottoms, but major. We'll be doing the practicals on the MT4, but we just want to show you what we're talking about here. All right. So connecting two major tops or downs, then you have a trend line. Is that okay? Good. Let's continue with these examples. Now we have type of trends. Now there are three types of trends. We have the uptrend, we have the downtrend, and then we have the sideways trend. So an uptrend, to draw a trend line for an uptrend, it's going to be something like this. And then what you will do is you connect the supports. That is for the uptrend, you connect the support. That is for the uptrend. For a downtrend, you connect the resistance. Get the difference. For the uptrend, you are connecting the support levels. And then for the downtrend, you are connecting, or you are drawing a straight line connecting the resistance. Do you get a difference? So if the trend of the market is a downtrend, then to draw a trend line for a downtrend, you need to connect the resistance. So the resistance becomes your trend line. And then if the trend is an uptrend, to connect your trend line or to draw your trend line, you need to connect the supports. If you don't know what is support or resistance, then I will still ask that you go and start from the playlist. Go to the playlist on this channel known as Forex Training for Beginners. Start from part 1, part 2, part 3, and come all the way up here. Is that okay? Now, the sideways trend is a market that is consolidating or ranging. So you have something like this, a market that is ranging. So you either connect the tops or you connect the downs. So for sideways market, you can connect the tops or you can connect the downs. So you can connect the resistance as a trend line and you can connect the supports to as a trend line. Get a difference. So I said with uptrend, you connect the supports. You draw a line passing through the supports. That will give you a trend line. If it is a downtrend, you draw a line connecting the resistance. That gives you a trend line for a downtrend. And then a sideways trend, which is a ranging market, you connect either the tops or the downs. So that one you can choose to connect either the supports or the resistance in order to get your trend line. Is that okay? Now, this is an example of an uptrend. This is an example of an uptrend. So you can see that the lines that have been connected are the supports. So the support level here, another support level here, another support level here, another support level here. So once the market comes to touch this line, then there is a probability that the market will bounce off this line and go back up. So once you have two lines connected or two major downs connected, the next time the market comes to test that line, there's a possibility that it will touch that line and bounce off the line and go up. Anytime it comes to touch the line, there is a possibility. Please get the choice of words here clearly. There is a possibility. It is not a must. It is a possibility that it will test it and then go back up. Now, at the level where this line is not tested and then it decides to break, once the trade comes and then it breaks through this line, then it means the trend line has been what? Broken. So trend lines can break. It's either the market will come and test the line and bounce off the line, or it will test the line all right and break through the line and then go a different direction. So immediately a trend line is broken. Now this is an uptrend, okay? This is an uptrend. So when the market gets here and then it breaks off this line and comes down, you are no more in an uptrend. You are no more in an uptrend. Now the trend line, which indicates an uptrend, has been broken. So it means you are now in a downtrend. Is that okay? But if the market comes and then tests this line and then bounce off the line up, it means the trend line is not broken. Are we good? All right. Now let's continue. Let's look at another example of a trend line. This is a down trend line. So with this, as you can see, it is the resistance levels that were connected. So this is a resistance level. This is another resistance level. This is another resistance level. This is another resistance level. So once the market gets here and then it bounced off this line back downwards, it means the trend is not broken. But if it comes and then break through the line, it means the trend is broken. Is that okay? All right, let's continue. Now you are beginning to understand what trend lines mean. Okay, now there are some key things to take note of when drawing a trend line. And this is where I want you to pay attention. point number 1 says, it takes at least 2 tops or bottoms to draw a valid trend line, but it takes 3 bottoms or 3 ups or tops to confirm a trend line. Get a difference? It takes 2 tops or bottoms to draw a trend line, but it takes 3 bottoms or 3 tops to confirm that indeed this is the direction, this is a trend line. Let me take you back and draw what I have just explained. This is where I want you to pay critical attention because it's very important. Let me take you back to this level at the example area here and just demonstrate what the point 1 says. The point 1 is saying that you have a market like this, okay? Now, it takes just 2 bottoms or 2 tops to draw a trend line. 2 bottoms, so this is a bottom here. It takes this just 2 to draw a trend line, but it takes 3 to confirm that indeed the trend line is an uptrend. So it takes just 2 bottoms here, 1, 2, to draw a trend line, but it takes 3 to confirm that indeed it is an uptrend. So you need the 3rd confirmation to confirm. So once it bounces off here, that's the same thing here. You are waiting for the 3rd one to happen. Once the 3rd one happens, then you know that indeed the direction of the market is an uptrend. But when it does only 2, you don't say it is a trend line. Is that okay? So that is what the point 1 is saying. So the point 1 is saying that it takes at least 2 tops or bottoms to draw a valid trend line, but it takes 3 to confirm a trend line. So what it means is that when you get the first bottom and you get a second bottom, immediately the trade comes and then it tests that line, the 3rd bottom, it comes and then forms a 3rd bottom. Then it means that is a trend line there. The same way when the market creates the first top, second top, yes, you can connect and get your trend line. But the confirmation will come when the market comes back to test that line. And once it tests the line the 3rd time and then bounce off that line, it means your trend line is valid. Is that okay? Point number 2, we'll be doing this on the MT4, so no problem. Point number 2, it says the longer the trend line you draw, the less reliable it's going to be, and the more likely it will break. So I earlier told you that the trend line can break. So the point 2 is saying that the longer the trend line, the less reliable it becomes. So for instance, the market has given you 2, 3 bottoms, 4 bottoms, 4, 5, 6. And at that level, the line you're going to draw is going to be a long one. So at that level, it is possible that that line will be broken. That trend line will be broken. Once you get 1, 2, 3, 4, sometimes the fifth button will be broken, or sometimes it continues. But the longer the line, the less reliable the trend line becomes. So once you have a long trend line, which has been tested severally, which has bounced off severally, that should tell you that there's a possibility that the next test will not hold, it will break. So the longer the trend line, the less reliable it becomes. And then the 3rd point here, I want you to take note of that point. It's very important to me. It says, do not ever draw trend lines by forcing them. to fit the market. If they do not fit right, then let the trend line, then that trend line isn't a valid one. I take it again. Do not ever draw trend lines by forcing them to fit the market. If they do not fit right, then that trend line isn't a valid one. So don't try to force the chart to obey the trend line. When you are drawing a trend line, don't try to force a trend line to fix when it is not fixing. You can see that the two bottoms you are connecting, the third one is not in line, but you're trying to force the third button to be in line. You are trying to force the third support line to fall in line with the trend line. Don't do that. You have connected two supports, but the third support is not going to fix in the previous two. So don't force it. Don't force and automatically try to force and create a trend line. Don't do that. If it is not fixing, allow it to go and look for a better trend line on another pair. There are millions of pairs to trade. So why force a trend line on a particular currency pair when it is not a trend line? So I really want you to take note of the third point. It's very, very important. Now, subscribe to this channel. If you love what you are hearing, what you are seeing, subscribe. Now I'm taking you straight to the MT4. We're going to the MT4 so that we do the demonstration of what we've just learned. Is that okay? So if you are good with the explanation so far, then it's time for us to go straight to the MT4, where we will do the demonstration. So I'm sharing the screen with you now on MT4. Good. So this is the MT4. Now, you need to ask yourself, what pair do you want to draw a trend line on? And if you remember the notes, what we said, the first key thing is you are trying to draw a trend line. And the rule of the game is that try to draw a trend line from higher time frames, draw it from higher time frames, and then you narrow it down to lower time frames. Do you remember that? Good. If you do, we have daily time frame here, weekly time frame. So on what time frame do you think we should draw? Okay, so this pair, for instance, let's see if we can draw it on maybe weekly time frame. Is that okay? Good. Now, if you look at this, you will see that on the weekly time frame, we've had several lows. This is one, this is one, this is another one, this is another one, this is one, this is another one here, this is another one here, and this is another one here. So it's either we connect two of this. So let's draw a trend line. So let's look at it. So if you want to draw a trend line, on the MT4 at the top here, you see this line here, a slanted line somewhere here. If you put the cursor on it, it will show you, sorry, let me come this way. Yes. If you put the cursor on it, it will show you that draw trend line. If you put the cursor on it, it should give you that indication. So you click on it, then you bring it, then you draw your trend line. So this is our trend line. A straight line, of course, that is what we're looking at. So is it possible to get this as a trend line? Okay, we have a line there. Are we good? Maybe let me clear this. Can you see the line? We have a line. Now, if you look at this line, this is on weekly time frame. Are we good? Now, I try connecting the first three from here. And as a result of the first three, we have been able to get this line. Now, this line, if you look at this line, this is a sideways market. This is a horizontal, what do you call it? This is a choppy or a consolidation market. Is that okay? So this is a trend line. Again, there is also something here we can see. Let's look at it. There's also a support here, another support here. So can we connect those two supports as a trend line? Let's see if we can do that. So we want to connect these two here as a trend line. Yes, we have connected those two as trend line. So if we clear, you are going to see that these two support areas have been connected. Is that okay? So we are looking at any time that price will come and then touch this line, what will happen? So if you look at it, over here, the price was here, another one here. The third time it came to touch it and went all the way up. Again, it came to touch it here again, tried to break through it, but didn't hold, and then went all the way up, came back to test it again, didn't hold, went all the way back up. This is weekly time frame. So the rule says that draw the trend line on higher time frame, then you lower it to smaller time frame. So we have two trend lines on the higher time frame. So let's switch from weekly time frame to daily time frame and see something. So we are in a daily time frame now. Let me zoom for us to see what it is. So if I zoom, you can see it. So we had a test here. This is on daily. I haven't drawn a new trend line. It is the old one I drew on the weekly time frame. Don't forget. The very one I drew, this is the weekly time frame, and you can see them. These are the two lines. So I bring them to daily, and you are seeing the same thing. Is that okay? Good. So as you can see, this is it on daily. So if you look at it on daily, you see that this came tested, tried to break. Let's zoom out and see it bigger, whether it really broke that line. We need to be sure. You can see it. Here, it tried to go through the line, but didn't break it. It retraced back, and then it made a lot of pips back up. How many pips? That is over 257 pips. And then over here, it came, tested it, broke through, but didn't hold, made a U-turn, and went all the way back up. So look at it. Look at the number of times it got tested. Let's go backwards and start from where this trend line began. I want us to look at where the trend line began, the down one. We are not even on the top one. This is on the down one. Look at it. So we started the trend line from somewhere here. This one here, and then this one here. So these are the two bottoms that we drew the trend line. So from this, the third line, let's see the third point that it tested. The third time that it tested that line. We are looking at it. So this is the third time that it tested over here and made its way all up. Came back the fourth time, tested it here, make its way all up. And look at the fourth one. How many pips did it go? It's crazy, huh? I want to check how many pips. It went all the way up over 1,159 pips. 1,159 pips for testing this the fourth time. And as we speak, the market is coming back down. It hasn't come to test it again. This is Euro GBP. So if I zoom, you can see that this is where the market is. It's currently still coming down, but it hasn't come up to test this again. It's on its way coming back. So this is from weekly. We do this on weekly. Out of this, we got 3 or 4 trades from just this trend line. Now let me delete this trend line and then let's focus on the top one and see if it also gave us something. So let's switch to daily time frame and see. Okay. Okay. This is it here. So we drew this one here, drew this one here. So we got 2 bottoms. The third one came and then it made its way all up. So look at it. How many pips? I just want to check. This is the third time it tested. It made about 954 pips. It was still all up. Hey, it still continued its way all up. If you look at it from the third time that I tested, it went all the way up to 2,335 pips. 2,335 pips. This is how strong it is. Like I said, the first thing is you draw on higher time frames, then you narrow it down to lower time frames. And then the second rule says that the trend line becomes valid when there is a test the third time, or when there is a third time test. So with the trend line, for instance, we had 3 tests. We had the first one here, second one, the third one that came to test it went over 2,000 pips. This was the third time it tested. If you look at it well, maybe if you are not getting it well, let me show you. This is the second one. Look at the first one here. Oh, come on, let me clear this and do it again. This is the first line here, the first bottom here. This is the second bottom here. The third one, which is the confirmation of the trend. This is daily time frame. What happened? It went all the way up. So if you look at it, look at how long it went up. Sorry, let me clear this. How long did it go up? If you look at it, you can see. Now let's continue. Now it came back and tested it somewhere here. If you look at it, it tested it again somewhere here and then went all up again. Now this time around, it broke through this trend line and made its way down. This should tell you that the trend line is broken. So you don't consider it again, because the third rule says the longer the trend line, the less reliable it becomes. So you can see that playing out here, because after testing that line severally, it is no more reliable. Although it went up, but you don't consider it again. Is that okay? Now, even if you want to draw trend lines on daily time frame, you can still draw. Look at this trend line here. So let me delete this trend line. See daily time frame, okay? Just watch this. Look at this trend line here. Let me pick this over here. Can you see it? Look at it. Look at what happened. Okay, just look at what happened. Sorry, where is it? Oh, I need to go back so that you can see. Yes, this is it. Let me zoom so that you can see it well. Sorry. Look at it. This is the trend line. All right. We had the first test, first bottom, second bottom, third bottom, fourth bottom. Okay, excuse me. I need to do this thing well. So you can see it. First and second bottom. The third one is the confirmation. So that is what we are looking at. First one here, second one here. You've gotten the third one here. So this is a confirmation of the trend line. It went all the way up. It came trying to test the line, didn't test it, but went all the way up. It came back and tested the line here again, made its way all up. So you can see how the trend line has been tested severally from the back. Now, I said you may use trend lines depending on what strategy you are using to trade. Now, this is the current level of the market. Can we draw a trend line? Yes, maybe. Because if you look at the current market here, you can draw two bottoms. Is that cool? These are two bottoms here. This one here, another one is trying to form here. So we can join two like this. And then we leave it and watch the market. Anytime it comes back to test it, then we know something is about to happen. Is that okay? This is on daily time frame. Again, you can draw some trend lines here again, if you don't mind. Look at the tops here. This is a line, this is another line, this is another line. Yes. And you can see how it got tested severally. Somewhere here. First one, second one, always the third time the confirmation takes place. You see that? This is the first bottom. Second button, you draw your line, waiting for the confirmation, which is the third one here. So at this level is where you will buy. And if you bought from that level, you would have made your profit of how many pips? Let's look at the third test. Tested it the third time and gave you 311 pips. 311 pips. Do you get it? So I am just trying to use one pair, and this pair is even one of the pairs that doesn't even move the way I like. Is that okay? So this is what it is. If I choose any other pair, maybe Euro USD, let's look at Euro USD. Okay, this is Euro USD. If I move it to weekly time frame, this is how it looks like on the weekly time frame. Can we draw two lines? Yes, we can see two bottoms here and join them. This is two bottoms. So anytime we see another touch on it, we will go for it. Yes. Anytime we see another touch, it is going to be a buy. This is on weekly time frame. Look at it here again. So it's all about spotting different trend lines. If you look at here again, yes, you can join two lines, sorry, two tops. So this is one top, this is another top here, which has been joined. Now the trade tried to come back to test again, but even didn't reach there and then made its way back down. So this is on weekly time frame. So with this, you can always switch to the daily time frame, and then you see things happening. Or on the 4-hour time frame, you can switch to 4-hour, and then you see what is happening. You get it. So on the 4-hour, you can even see it more clearer. You get it. So again, the rule says draw from the higher time frames, maybe GBP USD. Weekly time frame. This is GBP USD. Let me delete this. It's the old one I drew. So look at it. Okay, look at the tops. Can you connect the tops? Yes, I can connect these two tops here. That is a line. So if you look at it well, you see that some nice trade took place with it. If you don't mind to bring it back a bit. So look at it. Is that okay? You are only looking for two tops to connect or two downs to connect. And then the third touch again becomes the confirmation. Again, I can see two downs here. I can connect them. These are also other lines. Again, I can see, so you can draw several trend lines. I can see another trend line here. I can connect these ones here. And I can even connect these ones here. Oh, this is not the line I'm looking for. I can connect some other 2 lines here. Look at it. You can always connect several trend lines. So with this one, you got a 3. First touch, second touch, third touch, the market came down. Is that okay? You can connect again from this angle. This is it. I connect 1 top, 2 downs here. Is it possible that way? Yes, it's very possible. Sorry. Yes, and I can connect. So you can connect several lines, just 2. All you are looking for is 2 bottoms or 2 tops. And anytime the trade comes to test it for the 3rd time, and then it bounces off, that should tell you that you have a good confirmation there to go. So these are straight lines. And you are drawing these on major tops and major bottoms. It's not just any bottom at all. Major bottoms and major tops. That is where you draw your trend line. So you can do this on several pairs, and then you switch your time frame to daily or to whatever, and then you get a clear picture. So look at it here. On daily, you would have gotten several trees from here. This is the first top here. The first down here, second down here. You got a 3rd one here, which was a confirmation. If you took this trade, you even got a 4th one here. If you took this trade, all these lines were already drawn on weekly, and Wole decided to flip the chart to daily, and we are seeing the confirmations. So over here, that trend line got broken. Even before it got broken, it tested and went a bit back up before finally it got broken. If you look at it well, it tested here, went back up before it finally came back and broke it. So this is how you can draw trend lines. I want you to do this on your own by practicing this on your own. So try practicing this on your own, and let's see if you can be able to draw trend lines. For me, trend lines are very difficult to draw. Yes, they are very difficult to draw, but there are other people who become so good at it, and they are able to draw it easily. Yes, and it is part of their strategies that they use to trade. For me, it is something very difficult for me because I'm looking for something very easy. So I don't have this as part of my strategy, but I'm giving it out, or I'm teaching you because I don't know who will find this easy and may use it to the best of his knowledge and become profitable. So there's a need for me to share the information with you. It doesn't matter whether the information I'm sharing, I'm using it or not, but I will always be frank with you to tell you that this information I'm giving you, I'm actually not using it because I feel it is this way. But if you find a way out of it and it becomes easier for you, that becomes best. That becomes best. Is that okay? So this is it. Try your hands on this and let's see how it goes. If you have any question, you can always ask by writing at the comment section on this video. Subscribe to the channel and then we will have more things to talk about. Thank you, and I will see you in other videos coming pretty soon. Until then, all I can say is stay blessed. I'll see you.